Welcome to another of our lectures in social entrepreneurship. BYU Hawaii ENTR380 online. I'm Dr. Mark Matheson, and I'd like to continue our discussion about a book called Business of the Heart, or Business of Heart. Okay? By Dr. Michael Glauser. And we've discussed previously his chapters where he talks about the research he did on the different ways people are serving in the United States of America. Chapter 2 was Serving Our Children. Chapter 3, Serving Our Youth. Chapter 4, Healing Our Afflicted. Chapter 5, Feeding Our Hungry. Chapter 6, Aiding Our Needy. And now Chapter 7, you can see that. Building a successful nonprofit organization. And so he identifies many keys of what makes a good nonprofit business. He suggests, first of all, that there are many big-hearted, kind people out there, but they lack basic business, leadership, and organizational skills. He talks about one of the main problems with a lot of nonprofits is they are stuck on the treadmill of continually seeking donations to stay afloat. Think of that, the treadmill, someone's walking constantly on the treadmill, and think how distracting that must be. How can you really focus on the people you want to help if you're always asking for money, 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 money? Okay, so he thinks that we need to find a sustainable way to support these good nonprofit businesses. And notice he gives us 8 keys. I think it's 8 keys. And these are verbs, not nouns. They are not personality traits that will make you a great social entrepreneur. These are things you do, actions you take that make you a good social entrepreneur. Number 1, proclaim your passion. Proclaim your passion. The whole business world belongs to the people who have passion, both in the for-profit and the nonprofit world. And he said, passion is infectious, passion is captivating, and it's even more important in the nonprofit world because a lot of the financial incentives that you use to motivate people in the for-profit business world are not available to you as much. You can't give them lavish salaries and big bonuses and other financial perks that would persuade people to stay with you in a for-profit venture. You have to develop your passion and then proclaim it and infect it into the other people that will be working alongside with you. Overwhelming passion does 2 important things for the SZ. First, it's the foundation for perseverance. If you really believe in your cause, you'll have the strength to carry through all the hurdles and the ups and downs of your adventure. It takes a lot longer than you think it should to get things rolling. And you cannot light a fire under other people if you aren't already on fire yourself. He suggests that you take a 3-pronged approach. He calls it see it, feel it, do it. See it, feel it, do it. He talked about a park they were trying to develop in their city, and he couldn't get anyone interested until he took them to the place that they wanted to build the park, and they could see the view and see the potential, the vision of it, and that's when they got all the money donated and the labor and the services and all they needed to do to get the park built. So having the passion yourself is not enough. You have to be able to effectively convey it to others. Do you want to start this organization more than anything else? Is it what you really want to achieve in life? You are the standard bearer for your organization, sort of the guy who's carrying the flag. And you need to tell the story over and over again. You need to do it in a concise and persuasive manner. So you need to keep refining your message, polishing your presentation skills, and be prepared to show people the problem firsthand so they can develop their own zeal and passion for the cause. If you have the passion yourself but cannot effectively communicate it, your new venture will never fly. So he summarizes the principle this way: possess it, proclaim it. Possess the passion, proclaim the passion. Key number 2, keep your focus. No organization can be everything to everybody. You aren't going to be able to solve world hunger, world peace, poverty, homelessness, and drug addiction all with one social venture, unless it's maybe the gospel of Jesus Christ. So keep a focus on something that is within your power to accomplish. In the for-profit world, that can change quite frequently. As the market changes, people will change their product offerings and adjust. We don't quite have that luxury in the nonprofit world. Our toughest social problems remain fairly constant, which is a good and a bad thing. You know, poverty will probably be here through all our lifetimes, and so we can attack it for a long time. But that is a challenge that we will have to be able to keep our focus on it and our passion on it through a long period of time. You cannot attack hunger one year, poverty the next, and illiteracy after that, or you won't end up solving anything for the long term. He talks about the focus that the U.S. space program had in the 1960s when we were trying to outdo the Russian effort. And he said, what would be the difference if Wernher von Braun, who was the head of NASA during that time, if his mission had been to simply advance space travel, improve space adventures. But what was really our mission? Do you remember it? You weren't around then, but your parents, your grandparents remember that the U.S.'s goal for NASA was to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. And they achieved it in July of 1969. So a focused, specific goal, man on the moon by the end of the decade, was much more effective than let's do better in our space travel. Your focus in the nonprofit world doesn't have to be and should not be to duplicate another organization that is already doing well. In the for-profit arena, many companies create Me Too products and compete head-to-head with other companies. Our best entrepreneurs, however, find unique needs no one else is meeting, then pursue them to the fullest. And particularly in the nonprofit arena, if someone else is already doing a pretty good job addressing the issue, join forces with them. Don't compete head-to-head against them. You have limited resources, volunteers, and donations, so don't spread those out in a competitive nature. If someone's already doing a good job, you don't need to found an organization. You can just go work with them and contribute your good skills to what they're doing and help them do what they are doing better if you weren't even there. Key number 3, work with tenacity. Unrelentingly pursue your goal. No quality appears more often in interviews with entrepreneurs than raw tenacity. Some of the students have referred to this as being a bulldog. You know, it doesn't let go. It chomps down on you and never lets go. Or don't take no for an answer. Someone that just will not be turned down. Those are the kind of examples of what tenacity means. It's more than hard work. It is holding on with a firm grasp, going forward in spite of unfavorable odds, and never giving up. All successful entrepreneurs have numerous chances to quit along the way, but they didn't. For-profit entrepreneurs can persuade people with a variety of incentives. The salary is great. The return on your investment will be above average. The social entrepreneurs have to appeal to people's hearts. These children need our help. So you need to use different skills to get people to build and maintain their tenacity. Good social entrepreneurs, he says, become highly skilled at getting over mountains, under hurdles, and around roadblocks. Over, under, around. They know how to get rid of the obstacles in their path. He gives example of a Bob McCauley, who is a hero in the nonprofit world for being tenacious. He's the founder of America Cares, an organization that provides relief to people in foreign lands following serious disasters. He simply won't take no for an answer when he's trying to save lives. He's not afraid to call presidents, kings, queens to see if they will help. Over the years, AmeriCares has provided millions of dollars in medicines and supplies to the desperately needy in more than 50 countries, often within hours after disaster strikes. Once there was a devastating earthquake in Armenia, and Bob got a plane rolling within hours, and the pilot called from Canada and said, "All right, I'm in Canada. Do you have my landing papers to get into Armenia?" "No, we're still working on it." "All right, I'm going to go on to Europe." So he got to the Soviet Union and still had no authorization to land. Bob said, "All right, we'll go on. We'll get them before you need to land in Armenia." And that was pretty scary because, what were you going to do? That was the point of no return. And so they got the necessary permits well beyond the time when they could turn around. So Bob's philosophy, if you're going to do something, someone will always present you with 9 reasons why it can't be done. Just mow them all down. Pretend those 9 reasons are like bowling pins and you're throwing the bowling ball at them and scattering all the pins and getting them out of your way. Make things happen, he says. Hunger, poverty, illiteracy, violence, and various illnesses can take years and even decades to resolve. If you work on one of those challenges, you'll need a hearty dose of tenacity for years. If you aren't realistic about what it requires, you'll end up disliking your work. So be realistic and examine yourself and see if you have what it takes inside. In sum, plan on being married to this mission, especially during the startup years. You'll eat it, drink it, breathe it, and sleep it. So if you aren't brimming with passion and you don't like the weight of responsibility and aren't willing to work day and night with tenacity, you probably don't have the stomach for starting something in the social entrepreneurship skill. You'd be better off paying your dues for membership in America by volunteering in someone else's organization, which is also a great thing to do. You don't have to start a non-profit venture to make a major contribution in this country. Everyone can contribute on whatever level they're able to do so. So that's an important point I want you to remember, is you don't have to feel like you have to be the founder, the person who starts it. You can just contribute at any level. Not everyone can be a Joseph Smith. Some people have to be just the common home teachers that get the job done, that help the mission go forward. Skill number 4, build the right team. Successful entrepreneurs thrive on the experience of others. They not only have a real knack for finding partners with compensating talents that they don't have, they're also able to lock those people in with passion for the venture and enthusiasm for the teamwork. They are master puzzle makers who quickly put all the pieces of their team together in place. Recruiting strong team members early is critical to getting new ventures over the rocky road of entrepreneuring. Aspiring entrepreneurs who try to do everything themselves usually fail. So ask yourself, do I need skill or zeal? Skill or zeal? And I think that is an unresolved issue. Do you go out and find somebody that's what you need, the talent, and then try to convince them with your passion? Or do you find someone that shares your passion and try to give them the skills and the talent they need to accomplish the particular task that you need them to do? The team is everything in service organizations. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. When building your team, make sure all the bases are covered. Inventory your strengths and weaknesses and match them up with the requirements of your mission. He says, start by making a wish list of the people you hope to enlist. He suggests, first of all, you get technical people that are relevant to the industry and the area you're working in. If you're trying to do something in healthcare, you're going to need some medical specialists in that area. Second, identify people with contacts in the field, people that are powers and centers of influence in that field that can network and build and introduce you to the people that can get things done. Finally, identify people with business and organizational skills in operational skills to really put the vision you have into action. You're always better off to select people, he says, with incredible zeal and adequate skills than people with worlds of talent but no passion for your mission. So that's how he resolves passion or zeal or skill. And he says, pretty good zeal with some skill is better than lots of skill with no zeal. You have to find people that can share the day-to-day operations of the organization, and then you also need to find a strong board of directors, and then he suggests having a board of advisors. The directors have the fiduciary responsibility, the trust to make sure the organization is carrying out their mission. They have some real strong accountability. The board of advisors is more of people that can't commit full-time, they can't commit to be there for a long period of time, but they can give you some mentoring, some help, some advice. They know the industry, and you can call on them from time to time for help, but they have no official capacity. He also suggests that every time you try and meet with someone, that you ask for 3 additional names of people. So you say, all right, if you can't help me, can you give me the names of 3 people that you might suggest in the industry that could help you? In each meeting, he said, a lady he had met said, I have no materials, staff, or office. If you join me, you'll really need to roll up your sleeves and work. While this scared some people off, it helped her find a core group of passionate and committed partners. Key number 5, leave your ego behind. He gives the quotation from Khalil Gibran, a famous Lebanese poet who once wrote, a root is a flower that disdains fame. Let me repeat that one more time. The word disdain means to turn away or avoid or try to do without. So a root is a flower that disdains fame. The root could have been a flower, but it didn't want the publicity blossoming out there for everyone to see. It was very comfortable working underground, not getting any of the attention or the glamour. This metaphor describes the attitude of our top social entrepreneurs. They build strong teams, get their organizations operating, then step back into the background to sustain the organization. He mentions one organization he went to interview was Human Service Alliance in North Carolina. The founders of this remarkable organization are so far in the background, we can't even find them. No one would even tell me who they are. So the founders had stepped back out of the limelight and had let all the other people carry on the work without being the one to have the spotlight on them. So key 5, leave your ego behind. Ask yourself, are you using the verb or the noun we or the singular pronoun I. When you talk about this, is it we are doing this or is it I? And that will tell you maybe if you need to do some ego checking. Bob Buford, he refers to, who wrote the book Halftime. He compares this to a spring. We used to have watches with springs in them, and it'd be a coil wound really tightly. And then as it unwinds, it powers the watch, and it unwinds. Wow, you get a little dizzy following my hand there. Unwinds and moves. So you can see the difference between tightly and then big spiral there. So he says, we are like a spring winding tighter and tighter on itself. At some point we need to take a halftime break to think about the rest of our lives. Many of us make the decision to stop chasing success and start pursuing significance. That's an interesting goal. People who stop chasing success and start pursuing significance. That is a good one. Stop chasing success and start pursuing significance. As our focus shifts from self to others, we act like that spring unwinding outward away from the center. Giving up our tightly wound self to participate in something bigger is an immensely liberating experience, he says. When you serve others selflessly, magical things start to happen. You don't have to jockey for position or the limelight and tilting the table in your favor or camouflaging your own hidden agendas to get things done behind people's back. You don't have to be right all the time, so your mind is open to many unique viewpoints. You aren't threatened by people who are smarter or more skilled than you. In fact, you recruit them and celebrate their arrival. And if someone comes along who is more qualified to grow the organization than you, that's okay too. So remember, it's not about you. It's not about you. Check your ego at the door. Key number 6. Now, what's more important, being efficient or effective? Efficient or effective? Those are two words that a lot of people interchange, but I think there's a difference there. Effectiveness is achieving your goals. Efficiency is doing it with as few resources as possible. Successful entrepreneurs are masters of efficiency. They're able to create something from practically nothing, get more from less along the way, and keep their costs below industry standards. He makes an analogy. He says, suppose a bee is buzzing around your head. Your goal is to get rid of it. One approach is to get a sledgehammer, a big, huge, heavy hammer, and to start swinging at it. Another is to get a fly swatter and to try and get it. And a third is to simply open the door or the window and let the bee fly out. Now, all of those three strategies get rid of the bee, but they range from costly to efficient. The sledgehammer will damage the walls. The fly swatter is standard procedure, and opening the door is the most efficient. Successful SEs not only learn to open doors, but they also outlaw the sledgehammers in their organizations. Outlaw sledgehammers in your organizations. It's overkill. In other words, they achieve their objectives with as little cost as possible and refuse to adopt practices that consume valuable resources. We can learn a lot from their examples. Here are 4 strategies for getting a low-cost system. He suggests decentralizing, not all having it in one location. He gives an example of a corporation that they got on board to help with one humanitarian endeavor, and they got the corporation to donate one employee each year to be the head that year, and they'd rotated around many different employees, so it was sort of like a sabbatical for a year for that employee to be involved with the local community project. Empowering passionate people at the local level not only spreads the costs around, but it also enhances commitment to the program at the local community level. He talks about recycle constantly. You don't need to have the fanciest office furniture, computers, or filing cabinets. You're trying to help people. You're not trying to have a monument. For-profit businesses need new computers fairly often. You don't need new computers at all. You can get by with a second-hand computer to do the basic things you need. Get airlines and hotels to donate travel and things for you. Third, line up permanent volunteers. It sure is easier to have people on board for the long term than to keep getting new volunteers every year and training them and having them burn out and having to get new volunteers in. And he suggests, like one of the programs, have those people you're serving donate their services and time back to the organization. Have the recipients of your services work in your program. Fourth, grow your organization through existing infrastructure. You probably don't need your own building. Partnering up with another organization that share your cause is the quickest and most efficient way to expand your organization. See if there's rooms, empty offices in an existing company that you're aware of that would be happy to let you partner with them and use their office space and their secretarial space and their copier and some of their old computers. Don't think you have to redo it from the start and build this big infrastructure. So in sum, the nonprofit world is about problem solving, not empire creation. Number 7, generate your own revenue. Be self-sustaining. Get off that donation treadmill. If you don't have enough to cover your costs, you won't survive. If you barely cover your costs, you'll limp along. If you cover your costs and have money left over, you'll not only survive, but you'll thrive. Generating your own revenue puts the destiny of your organization in your hands, not at the mercy of donors. If your venture cannot become the vehicle for meeting corporations' desires to give so they can focus on their primary mission, you could maybe form a win-win situation. You team with another organization that needs you and you need them, and you help them build their mission, and then they throw off revenues and other help to you. He gives the example of a Race for the Cure that now raises millions of dollars for breast cancer research, Best Buddies, and the other ones we talked about in our most previous lecture. And he says, obviously your products and services have to be good. You can't sell junk and expect people to buy it just because it helps a worthy cause. But if you offer high quality items at competitive prices, being part of a worthy cause can significantly increase your sales. So what do you have to offer that people will pay for? Key number 8, apply the best business practices. He says that a good SE organization will require strategy, finance, marketing, customer service, and compliance with the law. Those are things you need in both a for-profit and a nonprofit venture. Founders of nonprofit ventures need the same management skills as founders of for-profit organizations. Okay. Founders of nonprofit ventures need the same management skills as founders of for-profit organizations. They may need more vision, passion, tenacity, and team building talent. So use these 8 keys as you analyze your endeavors that you want to pursue, and he wishes you happy social entrepreneuring. Thank you for your time. Good day until we talk again.